Well, hi there everyone, FarmsimGamer here. I hope you're doing well and welcome to Island Life, a wonderful map by Kaz64 that if you're not familiar with it, you haven't seen it before, I did a map review video on it a few weeks ago, so go check that out if you want to find out a little bit more about the map. Now, I've wanted to do a series on this since it first came out about 6 or 7 weeks ago, but I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. But I did want to do something that was kind of based on its original intended purpose, and that was to reclaim and raise land out of the sea to create new islands. So having had a quick think through that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate something that's real, a real place, a real country, and I've decided, as you probably gathered from the title of the video, to do New Zealand. Now, why have I picked New Zealand? Well, that's where Kaz64, the creator of this map, is actually from, and I thought what better fitting way to kind of recognise that by recreating his home country. So having had a look at the map, I've kind of figured that the best place to put the islands is up in the northeast corner. Now that's quite conveniently got a placeable area up here as well, so this is where I'm going to base the farm from. So we'll build our sort of centre of operations here. Now I will be purchasing some land as well, but I've probably only got enough budget to maybe buy 1, possibly 2 fields. So we'll need to keep a bit of money coming in, but I will no doubt take on a few contracts at the same time. So if everything goes to plan, then hopefully I will end up with something a little bit like this. Now I've overlaid the North and South Island of New Zealand onto the actual map itself, and as you can see it fits quite conveniently up in this northeast corner. Now I have had to rotate the islands about 30 degrees anti-clockwise in order for them to be able to fit, but you can see where the map border is, so it kind of fitted in here quite nicely and I think would work quite well. And then once I've created the islands, you can see the little kind of thin lines that are go across both of the islands. They represent the different regions within New Zealand, and the plan would then be that I create different fields that represent each of those different regions. So I thought that would be quite a nice idea and give us quite a few fields of different shapes and sizes. So that's the grand plan, or challenge I should say, to try and recreate both the North and South Island of New Zealand. So we'll have to see how we get on. Maybe once I've finished you can kind of judge me on how successful I've been. But first up we need to build our farm, so I'm going to crack on doing that before we start then raising some of that ground out of the sea and trying to create some of those islands. Now this is going to take me more than 1 episode to do, so it'll probably kind of materialise over the next 2 or 3 episodes, something like that. And once we created the islands, then of course I'm going to start creating the actual fields themselves. Right, so here we are, the farm has been built. Now I've utilised all of the buildings that Kaz had as placeable sort of within this map. So we've put the large grain store that's over there on the left hand side. We've got the big drive-through shed that's here in the middle. I've put some additional machine sheds just off on the left hand side here, and then 3 along the back side. Now I have also purchased that field number 62 I think it was, that's behind those sheds. Then we've got the goat pasture here as well, kind of like the goats, so I thought it'd be nice to have those here. We seem to have the space for them as well. And then if I just swing round onto the actual back of the farm, central farm building there, that you can see we've also got the fertiliser and seed buy points as well. And then off on the left hand side just past the sheds I've also put chicken coop in there, an open plan one. Then we've also got diesel purchase point, we've got the garage that's also got the workshop trigger just next door to it, and then we've gone and put our house facing out into the ocean that will overlook those 2 New Zealand islands that we create. So I'll be able to sit on the porch, have a nice cold beer and survey my work once I've kind of completed it and finished it. So we face the house out into the sea, which I thought was kind of quite nice. Cut a little path there through into the beach, and then I've also added a number of palm trees and everything through here as well, and we've got a separate little track that kind of just leads up to the house. So that's the farm, that's our field 62 that we've purchased just over there on the right hand side. Next up, need to get some machinery. So we've been fairly busy in the shop. We've picked ourselves up a Cavernaland 6-metre drill with a dual hopper. We've got a couple of tractors. One of them's out in the field at the moment. This one is a John Deere 4440 4-wheel drive. And I've had this tweaked. I've got the chip tuning mod installed, so I've had this one power increased by 100% up to about 225, something like that. So I'm going to use that tractor and then this lizard subsoiler here to be able to define the kind of fields and create the fields out on the islands once I've done those. We've also got a lizard heavy duty chain harrow here as well. That's kind of going to be our cultivator. That's 8 metre width. And then just over here I found a fairly cheap combined sort of lime and fertilizer spreader as well. That was fairly cost effective. Now all of the pieces of machinery that I've purchased are all second hand, so I have done the servicing on them, so they're all kind of up to scratch. Also bought some chickens. I think I've got 20 chickens in here plus a rooster. Now we've got ourselves a Yoskin Aquatrans tank. Now this is the one that Kaz has included in the map, so this takes all sorts of liquids, not just water. We've also got a small Stratman trailer over here, which we're going to use for doing the animal feed and straw blower as well. So the animals are all kind of fed and watered. We've put about 20, I can't remember, 25 goats in, I think. So again, I've done the watering, done the feed for those, so they're kind of quite happy and content at the moment. Then I also spotted a contract in field 60, which was for hemp. So we have got our second John Deere tractor. That one's a 4040, just two-wheel drive. Again, I tweaked the power a little bit by about 20% up to about 124 horsepower, I think it was. That's pulling a Gilbert trailer, which again, I've made a little tweak to that. That's 45,000 litre capacity. And then we have leased this Class Dominator combine header and trailer. So the plan would be that I will upgrade that to something quite a bit bigger in the future. But I was beginning to sort of run a little bit short on money, so I didn't want to purchase the combine, or didn't have enough money to purchase the combine really. So they're busy doing that harvest contract, and the sell point for this is literally just down the road in one of the mills. So that was quite convenient. So it seemed a good contract to take on board. So all of the equipment that we've purchased has been fairly cost effective. I think if anybody's bought these John Deere 40 series tractors, they'll know that they're only about £50,000-60,000 as a starting price, and that's brand new. So second hand, they're pretty cost effective. So the only items that we've leased is the combine, as I've said, plus the header and the trailer, and then I also leased the straw blower as well. But apart from that, we've managed to do the farm setup and buy all the rest of the equipment plus field 62 within the sort of 1.25 million budget that we had, and we've got roughly about £62,000 or dollars kind of left. Right, I'm going to leave these two to get on with this contract, and I'm going to go out and start reclaiming some of that land. Okay, so I don't know if any of you have tried to reclaim the land out of the sea here. If you have, then you'll know that it's a fairly expensive kind of process. So first of all, we've got to buy the plots of land, and then we've also got to then start doing the actual kind of landscaping itself. And the landscaping element in its own right is kind of fairly expensive to do. Now, we can't really afford to wait and do the farming and build up budget gradually. If we did, then this would make for a fairly slow and dull and boring video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some money straight into the bank account. Now I need about 2.2 million to buy the plots of land itself, and then of course we need money for doing the actual landscaping. So I'm going to put in £5 million into the bank account. I'll see how far that gets us, and of course if I need to put some more in after that, then I will have to do that. If not, then we're going to be reliant on kind of farming and working through the process, and that will take us quite a long time. So first things first, we need to have a look at the map, and if I just go into the purchase area so we can kind of see the blocks of land that are out in the sea. So if you're not familiar with this, you haven't seen Island Life before, then these are plots of land that you can kind of purchase that are out in the sea that enable you then to reclaim the land. Now the kind of islands will go from the edge of kind of plot 63, so about sort of here, then right the way round this kind of clockwise rotation down to just sort of below field 40. So I need to buy all of these plots of land here, so I'm going to do that. And then that's the last one there. And now that I own all the blocks of land, I can start reclaiming and raising the ground out of the sea. Now, if you haven't done this before, there's a couple of things that you need to know. In order to be able to raise land out of the sea, you've got to actually start from an existing piece of land. So as you can see, there are some little plots of little islands that are out in the sea already, so they kind of provide a base from which you can work out from. So you don't have to work out from the actual mainland itself. The other thing that you need to know is when you do start raising the land, when you go and have a look at the map, you can't actually see that. The only time that you can see things that have been kind of raised is when you start converting that land into actual fields. You start creating fields themselves. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to raise a whole load of land first, and then I'm going to use the tractor and the cultivator or the chisel plough to actually start defining the islands themselves. So I'm going to start up here in the top corner. You can see field 63 there, just the edge of it on the mainland. And then I'm going to use this little island as my starting point and kind of work out from here. Now this is going to take me quite a long time, so I'll just show you how I start, and then I'll probably do all of it off camera and just show you the end result. Now, if you haven't used the landscaping tool very much, the best thing I tend to find, particularly on using these islands, is using the flattening key. So that's pressing both mouse buttons at the same time. That's the easiest thing. So what you can do is you can take the height of an existing piece of land and then kind of just work out from there. So if you have a look here, just at the lower land that's on the outside, I'm just going to start working my way out. Now, I've got the dome here as large as I can possibly get it. Ideally, it could do with being a bit bigger, really, but that's the maximum size that I can work with. So I'm gradually just going to work out into the sea. I'm going to define as best as I can the outline of the North Island, and then I'll start sort of filling things in the middle. Now, like I said, this is going to take me quite a long time, so I'll do this off camera and I'll catch up with you all in a little while. Well, here we go, a couple of hours later, and quite a lot of budget later. I put 5 million in to start with. It took me just 2.2 million to buy the actual land itself. So I used 2.5 million to start with. I then put another 10 million in, which I used up fairly quickly, and then I added another 20. And as you can see, we're sort of down to just over 10.5 million now. So I guess we've used about 22.5 million pounds worth of, or dollars worth of budget. So I've kind of defined as best as I can the outline shape of what I think will be the island, but I won't know until I start doing that kind of cultivating. You can see that there's a little bit of height differential which I'll need to kind of smooth out at some point, but I won't start doing that until I've kind of tried to define the actual shape with the cultivator itself. So if we have a quick look at the map, you can see that although I've raised the ground, the land out of the sea, nothing's actually appearing on the map itself. Now that'll only start when I start using the cultivator to create the fields themselves. So I'm going to go off and do that, and then I'll have to sort of keep checking back against the map to see how my progress is going. Right, well, I've started sort of on the side closest to where the farm is, really, just so where those trees are that you can see just at the top of the picture. So I'm going to work my way around here, work my way around the bottom, and then I'll go up the right-hand side and kind of up the top and work in sort of an anti-clockwise direction. Now, it's not until you kind of get a tractor out here that you see how big the actual piece of land is that I've raised out the sea. So I think this is definitely going to take me quite a long time. I'm now sort of up towards the top corner, so we'll just stop in a second and have a quick look at the map and see how things are, and then hopefully we can kind of see the outline that we've created. Okay, so there we go. You can see the red line that's now starting to define the North Island. I think I've probably made a few little errors. The Hawke's Bay over there on the right-hand side looks a little bit too big, and I don't think I've quite got the top section right. But I'm going to crack on with this, and then I'll get back to you once I've completed it. Okay, so there we go. So that's the island completed in terms of its perimeter, and as you can see, I've also kind of identified all the different regions and the fields that they're going to be as well. So we've got those kind of all outlined. Now, not completely accurate, but I think pretty good. I found it quite hard to actually kind of define those, just using a cultivator and everything, but we're kind of okay. Hawke's Bay area is still a little bit on the big side, so I need to make a bit more of an adjustment to that, but overall I'm fairly pleased with that. And if you have a look at the actual land itself, then this is what it looks like. You can see the cultivated perimeter and where I've put the field borders in, so sort of fairly pleased with that. We have got some sort of fairly large areas of land that I've kind of raised that are outside of the overall perimeter, so I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with those. Probably put them under grass and put some tracks through it and some trees and a few other bits and pieces. I might put some sort of little buildings down, just a bit of decoration, but I'm fairly pleased with this. And as you can see, I think once I've kind of cultivated or ploughed in the whole fields, then we'll separate them out with some grass strips and things like that as well, but all of that we will do in the future. So the next job up really is I need to use Courseplay then to create a course for each of the actual fields themselves, and then once I've got those recorded, I will then be able to use Courseplay for doing various bits of field work. So that's what I'm going to get on with next, and then that'll probably be it for this video, and then we'll kind of move on to doing a few other things for the island in part 2. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's perhaps given you a bit of inspiration and some ideas what you might be able to go and create yourself. It's certainly taken me quite a lot longer than I thought it was going to, and we've certainly burnt through a lot more budget than I thought we would, but we have ended up with a fair sized piece of land. So thanks very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do so, because it does help me grow the channel. So thanks for watching again, and whatever you're doing, wherever you are, stay safe, take care, and I will catch you on the farm next time. Bye for now.